Hi, I'm Patrick, and this is Brian. Together we just got played. We're at the Cloak and Blaster, and tonight we got to experience something legendary. As a matter of fact...
Not dairy. Legendary.
No dairy. I'm lactose intolerant, you know that.
Right.
Rigga, the goblin, pulled with all her might, causing his body to erupt with purplish blisters, and tumbled into the street with her pants falling to her ankles, then danced a celebratory jig in the entrails of her enemy. That's right, we just got done playing Legends of Goblin Past. Join us for Tales from the Tavern, Legends from Goblin Past. Brian, tell us about Tales from the Tavern, Legends of Goblin's Past. It's a mouthful.
It is. It is. Much like those bursting purple blisters. Oh, anyways, Tales from the Tavern, Legends of Goblin Past is a storytelling game, and it's for 2 to 10 players, and it probably takes about 30 minutes to 45 minutes to play, or that's about what it took us, in which each of the players is assuming the role of a bard, I think, sitting around in the tavern somewhere. And this particular edition of the game is the Legends of the Goblin Past. So they're all stories about, I think, goblin adventurers in this
and
version.
How they died.
And how they died, or were successful and got spoils of war, or all kinds of interesting possibilities. But that's the job of the players, is to come up with and complete these storylines so that you have some pretty cool storylines. Now, in order to do that, each player has a player mat, and it contains 4 different possible storylines. And there's like one that's about mischief, there's one that's about trickery, one about special artifacts, and another one about encounters. And then there are different parts to each one of the stories. So you've got the hook, the rising action, the climax of the story, and then the epic finish to it as well. Now, each of the players during their turn can take a number of different actions. They can draw 2 lore cards, which are basically parts of a sentence, and they're going to correspond to either the hook or the rising action or the climax or something like that, and you're going to be able to place it down onto your matrix to complete those storylines. And some of them can only be played in the particular storyline, like the trickery or the mischief one or something like that. So you got to try to look at your hand and figure out how can I get the most amount of points and complete the story that makes the most sense and is the most entertaining during that whole time. So you have 2 different actions during your turn. You can spend 1 action to draw 2 cards at random, 2 of those lore cards. You can spend 1 of your actions to play 1 card down to your matrix. You can spend 1 of your actions to draw to get 2 gold coins. And what the gold coins allow you to do is you can also spend an action to spend 1 of your gold coins in order to draw a bardic tale card. Now, at the beginning of the game, you're going to start off with 5 of the gold coins, and you're also going to start off with 1 of the bardic tale cards. And what those are is they're like secret objective cards that are going to give you additional ways to earn victory points, or in the game they're called lore points. So, for instance, one of the bardic talents might be, if at the end of the game, if you have the most number of gold coins, you get 8 additional points or something like that. Or if you have the least number of gold coins, you'll get 3 points. Or there's also little modifiers on each of the lore cards that say, okay, this is a comedy type card, or this is a tragedy type card, and there's little values on there. And there could be other bardic talents that might say, if your tragedy and your comedy values are equal, or one's greater or lesser than the other, then you'll get X number of points for achieving that objective. In the lore cards themselves, some of them use either masculine or feminine pronouns or something like that, like his or her. And some of them might be, if you use more male than female ones, or more female than male, then you'll get more points or something like that. So
sexist.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of different elements where you can try to it adds strategy, and you're trying to tell a more consistent story, and you get more points for achieving those secret objective cards. With that, when you complete your story, you get an additional 5 points, and the game takes place over a course of 10 different rounds, which is actually tracked by a pretty nifty little candle burning mechanic. When those candles run out, then it's the end of the game, and then you total up all of your lore points, your victory points, and see who the winner is. You also get some additional points for, if you, I think, like 1 point for every 2 points. It's a little bit of a point salad at the end. You get so many points for each storyline completed, and then, of course, all of your bard and talent cards. With that, Patrick, what would you say is your favorite thing about Tales from the Tavern, Legends of the Goblin Past?
Tales from the Tavern is going to be something very unique. I have never played anything remotely like it. It is a storytelling game, but not in the sense of a normal storytelling game, at least not anyone that I've ever played before. So if you decide to pick up Tales from the Tavern, which is on Kickstarter very, very soon, you're definitely going to get something that is unique in structure and design that I've probably ever seen before in my life. And if there's one thing that you had to pick to be your favorite thing?
The thing that I like the most about Tales from the Tavern, it kind of piggybacks on what you said. There's a kind of like an original storytelling element. But the thing that I think I like the most is that this would be perfect for a game within a game kind of thing. So if, for instance, you play any type of RPGs like Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder, and it's set in a medieval fantasy type realm where there's taverns or goblins or anything like that, if all of your characters were to happen to go into the tavern and start throwing back a few mugs of ale, something like that, then this might be the perfect opportunity to do a little bit of extra role playing or to play that game within a game where you could break this out and maybe the DM or the GM can award some extra points on whoever the winner is or whoever comes up with the craftiest storyline or anything like that. So I just think it kind of would be interesting to kind of break up the regular RPG session or something like that. Yeah. But Patrick, what would you say is the thing that you liked least about Tales from the Tavern?
If I have to pick one thing, I think it's probably going to be, I'd like a little bit more congruency between the cards and the stories. Now, I know you're supposed to be a drunk bard, and some of the stories are going to make sense, and some of them aren't going to make sense, but I would like all of them to make sense, like all of them to be great epic bard tales. So if they put a little polish on that, and it seems like they could because all the mischief cards would line up and all the trickery cards line up, and I mean, there's a lot of different cards, there's a lot of different options. It would take a lot of work, but I think I would love to see that. You have really an epic game at that point. And if there's one thing, if you had to pick, that you like the least?
The thing that I think I like least about Tales from the Tavern is the amount of player interaction or kind of like lack thereof. But I'm not a big fan of co-op games, and this is not a co-op game per se, but the amount of direct confrontation is not, just to my liking, is not there. So if you like games that are not aggressive, this would probably be a good game for you. It's not quite a co-op game, but you're not sitting there like hitting every one of your opponents over the head with an axe every turn or something like that. Which is what I prefer.
On the head with an axe, yeah.
With an axe or a spear or something like that, take an eye out.
Sure.
I like a lot of bloodlust in my games, but anyways. Tales from the Tavern, Legends of Goblin Past will be coming to Kickstarter very, very soon. So make sure you jump over there and use some of your gold coins and buy some Tales.
I'm Patrick, this is Brian. Together we are Just Got Played. Thank you very much for watching. So have you used coins to buy Tales a lot?
No.
It's all right. That's the right answer. That's the correct answer.
I usually don't have to pay for coins. So
that's the correct answer for sure.
What kind of production is this?